Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on Resident Evil 8, and I thought it was interesting. There was leaks, obviously, months ago about what was the next Resident Evil that was coming. I believe there was a leak from a certain leaker by the name of Dust Golem that leaked that there was going to be a remake of Resident Evil 4, and there was at the same time also going to be a remake of, oh no, what am I saying? A the release of Resident Evil 8, a continuation of the franchise, but will be following suit, as in what you see in the background is gameplay of me playing Resident Evil 7. It's going to be following suit in what Resident Evil 7 was doing, so it's going to be first person Resident Evil 8, and according to the leaks, there was other leaks as well, that Resident Evil 7, oh no, sorry, Resident Evil 8 is going to have werewolves, is going to have other things as well. Apparently there's witches, I don't know. In the trailer, it was at some point that I think it might be Ethan, but there was a hand being bitten by these witches of supposedly, I don't know, vampires maybe, I don't know. But it's interesting. I am very, what I should say, I did give Resident Evil 7 a shot recently, and I have to say, it is interesting, it is spooky, and it definitely lends itself to having an amazing atmosphere. You know, you playing as Ethan, going through the Baker family's house, and you being chased around by Jack Baker. It's all well done, and it's very different. It does play similar to classic Resident Evil. Like, you're still item management, like, you know, not trying to waste your ammo and trying to be safe and go through the area without trying to waste your ammo, and you're backtracking. So you're still doing all that stuff, you know, and examining items to see what you need to progress. All that stuff you're still doing in Resident Evil 7, which is what you did in classic Resident Evil, and like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, and RE0, and even the remakes, you know. So yeah, they're most likely they're gonna be doing that in Resident Evil 8. I don't know, maybe not, but I'm gonna talk about a little bit of speculation here and also my thoughts on the trailer that happened when it was revealed. So starting off from that trailer, you know, I talked a little bit about the leaks and what was going to be in it. In the trailer, they showed near the end of the trailer that there's a werewolf. There was a werewolf near the end of the trailer. Mia was talking to Ethan in the beginning of the trailer about a local tale. And near the end of the trailer, there was basically, you know, Chris shooting somebody on the floor. So is Chris gonna be taking a turn in his character and being a bad guy? I don't know, maybe. But you know, Capcom has pulled this kind of switcheroo thing with their other franchises. You know, like I remember watching a trailer. I don't know the history of, like, you know, Resident Devil May Cry 4's marketing campaign, but what it seems like they were trying to do is they were trying to make the players think they were going to play Dante, which in fact they didn't. They weren't. They were going to play Nero. But the weird thing is, at some point in development, I don't know, they announced that there was a Devil May Cry 4, but then I don't know, they announced it too early, and the game was still being, like, you know, in early development. The game was kind of rushed though, but it changed over time, and it shows gameplay of you playing Nero. But Dante, in the first trailer, they show him off like he's some kind of villain, which is, you know, interesting. Knowing the marketing campaign of Resident Evil, no, Devil May Cry 4. Crap, my God, where's my head at? But yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that's possibly what they're pulling with Chris here and him shooting the character. There's probably some context that we don't know as to why he shoots down the girl named Ethan the girl near Ethan, not named Ethan. What am I saying? Near Ethan. I saw some screenshots on Twitter. Somebody zooming in on the person that Chris is aiming at near the end of the trailer. He's like looming over Ethan, and before he does it, Chris is just looming over Ethan, and to Ethan's left, Chris just turns and he shoots Mia. Apparently, it's Mia from Resident Evil 7. She lives a normal life with Ethan for a few years after the events of Resident Evil 7, and for whatever reason, their relationship or whatever, their peaceful life is like interrupted. So the interruption could possibly be Chris showing up out of nowhere and shooting Mia. Don't know, but yeah, saying that Chris is the logo, some shit is about to go down in Resident Evil 8, bro. But I hear people comparing the environment in Resident Evil 8, and how it's basically called Resident Evil. Instead of it being called straight up Resident Evil 8, it's called Resident Evil Village and shit like that. They're seeing that in the environments, and they're like, okay, this gives off a very Resident Evil 4-esque kind of vibe, because there was like a village you had to go through with these Spaniards, and after that you had like a castle going on. Same kind of thing going on here with Resident Evil 8. You have like you're probably gonna be going through a village, and you got like a castle going on. And there was a snippet of the developers going through this, of them talking about Resident Evil 8. They didn't obviously go super in depth about what's going on. They were just going on about their logo, how they're showing Chris is more brooding than he is in previous Resident Evil titles. But yeah, it seems like Chris is very fed up, and I guess we'll have to see when Resident Evil 8 what he's fed up about. Most likely is the loss of his comrades, but I guess we'll see how he is in Resident Evil 8. Why did he shoot down Mia and stuff, and why is he taking this drastic turn as a character. And if this is his last game, I hope they give him a good farewell. I want him to go like with a bang, not like a whimper. That would just suck. I hope they give Chris a good farewell, like, if he is a villain, like, give him like a good send-off. Or maybe at the end when he realizes the mistake he made or some shit. But, I hope it's done well, his arc that he's going to have in Resident Evil 8. But anyways, I've always been reluctant to first-person shooters, and I've liked the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3. You've seen the reviews on the channel. I really liked Resident Evil 2. So does many other people. One of the biggest games of the PS4. Resident Evil 2 remake. Resident Evil 3 wasn't up to standard like Resident Evil 2, but it was a okay game. It was good, but it was just too short. And also, to be honest, I didn't even talk about some of the mistakes that was in the game even further. Like, the difficulties really show the rushed development of Resident Evil 3 remake as a whole, and the game as a product. It is a very rushed development as a whole. The amount of hit stun you need to cause to a zombie, the bosses on nightmare mode and all that shit. Near the end, how they stun lock you on a combo. Resident Evil 3 is by all means a freaking very rushed game. I definitely think it's not up to the same par as Resident Evil 2 remake. Resident Evil 2 remake is way better, and there's also way more. There's like more puzzles in Resident Evil 2 remake than there is in Resident Evil 3. I think there was like 2 puzzles in Resident Evil 3, there wasn't many. But yeah, I'm going off on a tangent. But Resident Evil 8, yeah, I'm reluctant against first-person shooters. And Resident Evil 7, I'm giving it a shot. You see the footage right here. I think Resident Evil 7 is interesting, and I'm having fun with it. But I can't help but feel like I might like Resident Evil 7 more if it was third person. how if they like balance the game around it being third person, but like a character like Ethan who's not as experienced as a Stars member like Chris or like or Sheva from the BSAA or Jill Valentine, you know what I mean? But like as a civilian, but not in first person, in third person. But this is good too. I get what they were trying to do. They're not trying to have Ethan be a character. They're trying to make the player fit in the shoes of a world like Resident Evil. So that's why I have it be third person. They're trying to scare the player in a different way. This is their way of trying to reinvent the formula of the survival horror in the series. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was my thoughts on Resident Evil 8. I'm reluctant towards first-person shooters, but I might give it a try. I'm more so looking forward to Resident Evil 4 remake. Whenever that comes out, I hear that's way down the line by Dusk Golem. That's probably going to come out way down the line. Like, we're talking 2023. This is a leak here. And this Capcom, by the way, Capcom has not announced any of this shit. They didn't announce Resident Evil 8. I already knew this was gonna happen. Like before they even announced it at the PlayStation event. This was a huge leak. Resident Evil Remake 4 and Resident Evil 8. But yeah, werewolves and potential vampires, man. I'm down for that. But that's my thoughts on Resident Evil 8. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.